All right, hello. How's everyone feeling today? If your answer is okay, then you're in luck because it's OK Day. Yes, that's right, a celebration for one of the shortest yet most widely used words in the world. Now, speaking of OK, you might feel like everything is going A-OK for your residential business, or you might be feeling that things are just okay, and you're looking for something that will elevate your outlook. Now, either way, we've got quite a treat in store for you. The Housing 2.0 book and workshops provide a framework for consistently delivering homes with a superior user experience at a lower cost. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, says you, stranger on my computer screen, but does the program really deliver on its promise? Well, we're going to take a look at a couple of real-life projects that substantially improved their existing designs and experienced tens of thousands in cost savings and added value. Now, here to walk us through these projects is Sam Rashkin. Formerly the chief architect at DOE's Building Technologies Office, Sam has earned a national reputation for his work leading housing programs that have partnered with thousands of home builders and resulted in over 1 million certified high-performance homes. Now, he retired from that agency a little over a year ago and is now solely focused on creating and teaching the content for the Housing 2.0 program. That content is based largely on Sam's latest book, Housing 2.0, A Disruption Survival Guide. The program empowers building professionals to design and construct higher performance, healthier, more sustainable homes at a fraction of the cost. To learn more, you can visit greenbuildermedia.com/housing-2.0. Now, I need to make sure that I tell you about our sponsors who are more than okay. The first is Mitsubishi Electric. Mitsubishi Electric promotes sustainable building through the electrification of residential and commercial heating and cooling products. Their mission is to advance technologies to reduce waste output, promote sustainable resource cycles while increasing energy efficiency and eliminating dependence on fossil fuels. Next is our newest sponsor, Westlake Royal Building Products. They are the North American leader in the innovation, design, and production of a broad and diverse range of exterior and interior building products, including siding and accessories, trim and moldings, roofing, stone, windows, and outdoor living. For more than 50 years, Westlake Royal Building Products has manufactured high-quality, low-maintenance products to meet the specifications and needs of building professionals, homeowners, architects, engineers, and distributors, while providing stunning curb appeal with an unmatched array of colors, styles, and accessories. For more information on them, you can visit westlakeroyalbuildingproducts.com. And finally, we've got Schneider Electric. They are driving the digital transformation of modern homes with smart and sustainable energy solutions for ultimate comfort and energy efficiency. Their connected home ecosystem of smart energy management solutions provides digital control of energy use throughout a home, from the grid via their smart electrical panel to their connected wiring devices. This grid-to-plug solution makes it significantly easier to create smart solar power and backup power ready homes, both now and in the future. Now, did you know that you can submit questions for Sam? You can. Simply use the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. I'm going to look over those questions and ask those to him on your behalf during the Q&A time set aside after Sam's presentation. Sam, how are you feeling today?
Okay.
That's excellent. Take it away, sir.
Hey, thanks, Mike. And once again, welcome everyone. Today's webinar is the first in our Thought Leader series. And I thought I'd take a chance to launch the series for 2022 with a look back at the work we did with builders across the country, applying Housing 2.0 best practices for optimizing user experience. And we're going to talk about how we get to better homes for lower cost. But first, like Mike, great appreciation for these amazing sponsors. You know, this is a unique program. It's not an obvious fit for many of these high performance manufacturers and other product manufacturers. The fact that they step up and bring this important content to you is really so important to us, and we're so thankful. And of course, I really appreciate our work with my partnership with Green Builder Media as well. So a big thanks to our sponsors. And I want to start out today with this hypothesis that drives Housing 2.0. And it's that the user experience imperative actually applies to housing. So let's look at this, and before we get into looking at some actual builder projects. And the data is what's so compelling to me. It's when we look at actual return to investors for broad companies and the stock performance over 10 years, and we isolate the purpose-driven companies, the user experience leading companies in the country, they are 3 times better return than the industry gold standard up to the time of looking at why or purpose-driven companies, good to great companies. These are the companies from James Collins' Good to Great book, where he identified leading companies and their best practices to get amazing return to investors. In this case, 300+%. And you get 3 times that with the user experience leaders, and compare it to the S&P 500, 8x better performance. So amazing data about the business superiority of these user experience companies. In addition, other data looks at 11-year stock performance. This study by Watermark Consulting, and had a similar kind of compelling outcome for user experience leaders versus laggards, 3 times greater financial performance. Again, looking at stock performance over a long decade of data. So this is really compelling. But then McKinsey actually looked at also the resilience of these user experience leading companies compared to laggards. And again, 3 times resilience advantage. And that is more shallow troughs and quicker recovery during these recessionary periods. And just looking at the data. So it really suggests this user experience imperative. And then I look at data for housing, specifically the data about where we spend time every day as individuals. And the research from Lawrence Berkeley National Lab shows that almost 70% of our time every day is spent in our residence. You know, the rest of the time's at work and vehicles, dining, other indoor locations, but home is in fact where life happens. Almost 3/4 of our day happens in our home. And this research was done pre-pandemic. I can only imagine this number must be up to 75, 80% now during and after the pandemic, as we spend more time working at home and also more time at home in general. So this is a huge realization. Home is where life happens. And what Housing 2.0's big why message for our program is, we're about homes where life happens better. What can we do to make 3/4 of our day be better for all individuals, which for me is personally inspiring. And the hypothesis that I've put to the test by looking at lots of data and research is documented in my book, Housing 2.0. And I've been able to do some analytics, extract data from other sources and references and research, and come up with, for an average 400,000 home, savings and added value opportunities across 5 key experiences that we work with: community design, performance, quality, sales. That ranges from about $130,000 to $280,000. And in the terms of percentages, in general, it looks about 30 to 70% for a typical home is what we can save in cost or add in value combined. Now, good friends of mine said, Sam, that's too big a number. You're going to scare people. People won't believe it. So I generally go with better homes for lower cost. But these are what the numbers add up to. Details, tables, they're in the book. But this is the hypothesis we have for Housing 2.0. And tonight, or today, I want to focus on what we've been doing working with builders, applying the design optimization framework. And a little bit at the end, I'll talk about sales as well. So this all happens, and the way we bring this to the industry is with what we call the user experience optimization learning system. That is a Housing 2.0 program at large. Everything we do is part of a whole learning system. And first thing we have done is we brought forward a framework that's been vetted for over 5 years with hundreds of building executives. And it includes 5 user experiences, 19 strategies, and 150 best practices. The first strategy is community, or the first experience is community with 3 strategies and 21 best practices. The second experience is housing design with 5 strategies and 50 best practices. Then performance with 5 strategies, 42 best practices. Quality with 3 strategies, 19 best practices in sales with 3 strategies, 21 best practices. And today, I'm going to focus on how, when we apply just the design best practices, those 50 best practices, we have all this opportunity for better, lower cost. Now, the process that we go through is pretty basic. One is we first invest in experts and special features when we have a sure thing. A user experience that with certainty will transform a homeowner's joy and a whole experience living in their home. So when we have those transformative experiences, we make the wise decision to invest in the features and the experts that can optimize it. So we're spending a little more, but then we're extracting cost savings by getting rid of waste, just meticulously getting rid of every part of waste we can find and reducing complexity. So we reduce cost with waste and less complexity, and then we have a net cost savings with all that added value. So effectively now we can sell better homes for lower cost. That's the simple process laid out that we do with Housing 2.0. And it's all in gory detail provided in the book, Housing 2.0, a Disruption Survival Guide, over 420 pages, hundreds and hundreds of graphics, over 360 citations and references and resources, and 7 guest expert essays that are amazing complement to the content. You have the content, you have information here for how to order the book and join the program. You'll see this at the end of the presentation as well. Now, the next part of Learning Systems are workshops where we provide context. We lay out the future of housing with certainty by identifying the convergence of 5 key crises and 4 innovations that address all 5 of those crises and create what we consider a huge disruption looming ahead for the housing industry. So that's the context. And then we go right into the concepts and skills for optimizing the 5 experiences: community design, performance, quality, and sales, along with a wrap up and lots of good empirical data about, again, working on actual projects. And the goal is to learn to build better with lower cost. Then the action groups, the work which I'll be summarizing today, is what I call the practice. And the action groups that we have done last year, we're focusing on optimizing design. We customize a framework for the individual builders because they shouldn't have to do everything that's in the book. They have their own preferences and tolerances and market conditions and climate conditions. A lot of factors have to be weighed in to come up with a framework, but everyone should have a framework. Then we have the participants benchmark their existing designs or 1 or 2 designs to that new customized framework, and develop a draft revised design and a final revised design, and then start tabulating the cost savings and added value. The whole idea is to work collaboratively with like-minded professionals, applying these best practices and learning to actually scrutinize each other's work in a constructive way to make everyone get better, more value at lower cost. And then the last part of the learning system is the Thought Leader series that we do. This is the schedule for this year. We've got an exciting layout of speakers who just provide in-depth understanding of many of the concepts that we lay out in the workshops, including the future of sales and health and comfort, peer reviews. But today we'll focus on better homes for lower costs, putting the Housing 2.0 hypothesis to the test. And in summary, this is basically how the whole program works. We have context, which is why should we even bother learning this skills and concepts in the first place. Then the concepts, which are the key principles, and skills, which are best practices. They're all laid out both in the book and the workshop. And then we have practice, which is learned by doing. Actually, you know, when you would take like a golf lesson, it won't do you very much good or almost any good if you don't go out and practice the skills and embed them in your ability to be useful. So action groups are a really important next step to kind of practice and learn by doing. And then we have, for continuous improvement, the purpose of that is to sustain the excellence that you keep growing with. And we do that with the Thought Leader series to keep bringing you the best insights we can find how to keep getting better at user experience. Okay, so let's look at the design optimization framework, but only an overview, and then show you how it's applied. And essentially, the framework is a why behind each of the experiences, core purpose behind why we do that experience, what is the optimization that we strive for, and how are the strategies to get there. So why we optimize design is because space matters. Outside the home, inside the home, and details make a huge difference. So what we do is we first optimize location. And how we do that is by optimizing how each home fits to the site. Then we optimize nature. We do that by natural comfort. My good friend Vivian Loftus will call this environmental surfing, and has a great thought leader essay at the back of the design chapter on this. But basically, it's leveraging all nature has to provide for free to take the whole human experience inside the home to the next level. Then we optimize space. We do that with right sizing, which is where we get rid of space we don't need that's wasted. And we add extra value with insights for how to do that at lower cost. And then we optimize form by keeping it simple. We optimize function by integrating all the systems so they're not afterthoughts and have to be figured out in the field and create extra cost because they're not integrated. That's the basic framework. And for each strategy, there's higher level and then detailed best practices. And so to fit the site, what we're doing at a higher level in terms of best practices is first optimizing views, both the natural and design views. Then we optimize drainage for grading, siding, setback from slopes. Regionally appropriate materials, basically managing all the damage function risks at any individual site. Could be freeze, thaw resistance, corrosion resistance, UV resistance, pest resistance. And lastly, we want to optimize community connection. When people want to connect with the community, there should be the opportunity to do so. And we do that with rear garages, front porches, and a more controversial one that's not for everyone would be shared backyards. So in some parts of the country, that's pervasive. Others, they would never think of doing that last one. And then natural comfort's about natural heating, cooling, lighting, and fresh air. This all happens with orientation, thermal mass storage, solar shading, cross ventilation, orienting to prevailing breezes, and just leveraging all these in various combinations to get free heating, cooling, daylighting, fresh air, an amazing indoor experience. Simple is about simple floor plans, simple exteriors, and simple interiors. And that's all done by really scrutinizing our footprint, functionality of our floor plans, then the geometry of the architecture, the functional features that could add richness to the design and actually provide tremendous use. Authenticity is incredibly important with trim, color, details, and then simple interior relates to how we do finishes and details so they all work in a just most effective way with the least awkward conditions and lowest cost for highest value. So that's the basic simple part of the strategy. Then right sizing has two key best practices, leveraging space and enhancing space. The way we leverage space is with geometry, layouts, eliminating rooms you don't need or combining rooms, minimizing circulation. Built-in furniture is, again, another controversial recommendation, not for everyone, but has amazing outcomes and relevance to the current younger demographic that's buying homes. And enhancing space, we're getting spaces to live larger by using techniques that just make rooms feel bigger. Indoor, outdoor linkages, varied ceiling heights, quality trim hardware and finishes, expert colors, and optimizing lighting. And then lastly is integrated systems. And again, the overall best practices are the infrastructure systems, the livability systems, and performance systems. On infrastructure, we look at MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structure. Livability is about the furniture as a system, storage as a system, and lighting as a system. And performance, two main things we care about will be ensuring water protection. Our design actually does its primary purpose of an enclosure, which is to shed water and protect the occupants. And also, more and more with the interest in solar technology, we want to have solutions that integrate solar at much lower cost with much superior aesthetics. So this is take a deep breath. This is a lot of best practices. Again, this is why we always start with customization. Figure out what can be brought into each individual builder's business model and let them grow from there. And when you sum it up and look at all these transformational opportunities, it's views, it's connection to neighbors, it's, again, all that natural comfort has to offer: landscaping, hardscaping, linkage to exterior spaces, color, lighting, quality finishes, storage and built-ins, integrated design. These are just, in each and every case, transformative for the user, for the buyer. And so just to wrap up before I show you the actual homes that we did working with builders, I wanted to show you just a design I did 40 years ago as a concept home for a group of about a dozen builders in Sacramento. It was a study project funded by SMUD, but I was representing the California Energy Commission, and I basically put this out as a concept home. And what I want to show you is it's less than 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom home. And I want to show you how in every aspect of that framework I just showed you, we were able to apply all these best practices. So let's start with the fit to site. And first thing, of course, you notice is the rear garage and the front porch. So, now California mandate is no builder would build without the fencing, so the fencing had to stay. So again, you have to consider your local market conditions, but easy to do this community connection. And then we optimize views. We create hardscaping solutions and landscaping solutions in the rear yard with lots of views to them from the inside. And then we optimize drainage very simply on these lots. Sacramento's fairly flat, so it's easy to do the drainage. And then in particular with the Central California region, wildfires was always the concern I had even back in the 1980s. And so, I was really insistent on non-compostable roofing, which was the big lobby I had to do, because the pervasive choice back then was wood shake roofs. In other words, everyone was insistent on putting kindling on the roof as the choice of material to cover their home. And it was insanity back then. Finally, now that insane choice is finally transitioned to non-combustible roofs. And non-combustible siding is inherent in the common use of stucco for the walls. Now, in terms of natural comfort, we had on this particular lot perfect south orientation, which helped us with solar heating, solar lighting, solar cooling, and natural fresh air, and particularly because both the orientation worked for sunlight and for the bankable southwest delta breezes that came in every night from the San Francisco Bay Area. So that worked perfectly. And all we did, add a little bit of wing walls to block the northeast and northwest sun that rises and sets respectively every day from very far back. And then we put in some cross ventilation capabilities. We put in thermal mass storage. We put a lot of solar shading, both with the overhangs and with trellises when windows were floor to ceiling. And then we had cool roof considerations to reflect more light. On right sizing, we had an open layout, so it lived bigger. We had hardly any circulation for the entire house. I am very much of a huge built-in furniture advocate from the very beginning of my practice, and you can see how extensible built-ins are. And the amount of storage you get and clutter removal is just phenomenal. So built-ins everywhere. I won't walk you through all these built-ins. And my intent back then was to try and use SIPs for the roofs, which gave us higher ceilings, sloping in the front and the back of the home, and a flat area in the middle for storage and mechanical systems. And then indoor-outdoor linkages were pervasive, looking out at the hardscaping and landscaping. And so I would submit that this 3-bedroom, 1,480 square foot house lives like a 2,000 square foot house. It has incredibly luxurious master suite, incredible amount of storage. It has a master bath that has a separate toilet area, 2 sinks, a full jacuzzi tub, and a full walk-in shower. The hall bath has compartmentalized, so it can be used by 2 people. A full laundry room. It has a huge kitchen and island. It had a very comfortable great room and with a little office section. And the bedrooms with built-ins had tremendous functionality. So I would submit this was like 2,000 square feet. So at $100 a square foot of cost for a builder estimate, that's over $50,000 of savings, hard cost, just by right sizing. Now, integrated systems, again, the SIPs allowed us to have both the higher ceilings and a place for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and storage. Furniture was optimized for flow, minimized wasted space, and the solar south-facing roof is there for future solar systems. And then on simple, this was a fairly simple floor plan, but as I started developing Housing 2.0, I revisited this design, and you can always keep evolving. And I made this design even simpler. It was 1,480 square feet. I was able to reduce it to 1,380 square feet. And I think it actually lives better. And again, 100 square feet times $100 a square foot is another $10,000 cheaper. And a number of things. First of all, mass customization. I took this incredibly effective bedroom area plus bathroom area, and I just repurposed it over here for the new design. And then we have a front porch that has a much better view because it's not blocked by the bedroom section, so it's a full view front porch. You have 8 foot less width to the home, so it fits on a more narrow lot. You have 6 less corners. You went 8 to 5 corners outside, 4 to 1 corners on the inside. Use these standard building blocks over and over again, as I mentioned, with the mass customization. The kitchen corner cabinet, we're able to eliminate, and then you have a tremendously luxurious kitchen, a bigger island, and you have a private office space in this case up front. We can work here separate from the great room. So you can wind up to be a more functional layout, less square footage. You keep evolving and optimizing. That's the whole goal of what we try to do in terms of a discipline with Housing 2.0. And when I tabulate and get all the numbers and add it up, the savings and the extra value, I won't walk you through the details. It's about 40 to 80,000, or again, right on that 15 to 25% I showed you earlier for the design savings opportunity. So that's great, but does it work? And last year we had Walsh Construction actually present their design optimization project where they built one multifamily apartment building on a site, and before they built the second, they went through a massive design optimization process, and they came up with almost the top of the range, 24% below target cost from the other building, yet with more performance, better layouts, better functionality. I encourage all of you to watch in the archives for the Thought Leader series, Mike Steffen's amazing presentation. I'll take it step by step, all the savings and how he tabulated this incredible cost reductions by just doing good design optimization. So now we wanted to put it to the test with the people that work through the program. So we set up an action group process. And I mentioned earlier what we first do is recognize every builder has their own preferences, tolerances for change, their own market conditions and market research and climate conditions. So the first thing we do, step one, is we take the full framework for design best practices, and we identify the high priority ones that will become the customized framework for that each individual builder. Then we give them homework, they go back, they take that framework and they benchmark it to 1 or 2 designs, bring it back the next week and show the class the framework benchmark results, taking their new customization, new customized framework for design optimization. Then they go back after they finish the benchmarking and they do a draft redesign from the existing product and bring it back to the class. And then a lot of collaboration, feedback, and so forth. They go back to a final design, and after the final design, they go back and they do pencil to paper, get out the calculator, and they calculate the cost savings and added value. So what you're seeing today will be the results of this process. And the way the collaboration works is the group agrees to share information, and we always insist on feedback from attendees first. I want everyone to learn by doing. I'm going to be the very last to speak up and give my feedback. so that everyone gets into the kind of mode of putting on those special lenses for extracting waste and cost and adding value. So that's the goal of what we do, and that's the results of what you're going to see. Now, the first builder actually contacted me to work individually with their full team. So this was a work with the action group, with the builder, and all their internal people working in the organization. And so you have the marketing person, you have the purchasing person, the owner, you have the architect, with everyone who was a key decision maker around the table. And we ran through the framework, and wherever they got 4s and 5s, we said, this is going to be your customization framework. You rate this as 4 or 5 priority. Let's embed this so that it is effectively branding the product. Every one of your designs, we're going to make the holding to meeting these best practices. So you can actually go to market and actually advertise all the benefits that accrue from those best practices. So you can see from this box, the red boxes, which are the averages for all the decision makers, that fit the site was really important a strategy for this group. Natural comfort, mostly on solar shading and solar orientation and a little bit of ventilation. Right sizing, very substantial, except as I mentioned, many builders aren't ready for built-in furniture, so that was the tolerance and preference. They backed off that. And the trim, the hardware, the colors, they weren't sure if they could get into that yet, so no problem. It's not in their framework. Like many builders, one of the most targeted priorities was simple. And this was a big focus of the collaboration. And on integrated systems, again, a lot of priority to make their homes more integrated for substantial cost savings and also better aesthetics. So this is the design the architect brought in that we benchmarked. The way you can see it set up is we have their customized sheet with all their customized best practices that they targeted as high priority, and then we put some notes together. I'll walk you through this. One, for instance, is the stairwells right here on an outside wall, blocking view. That's an insane place to put the stairwell and then block a view from the great room to the backyard. Number 2 was the bedroom. The bed wasn't facing the view, and you have these 2 small windows when you have amazing real estate on that back wall to capture a design view. So we took this bed and recommended turning it this way. And then number 3 was the kitchen was blocked from the view on the front because of the entryway and this pantry. Number 4 was great room was blocked from the view, obviously with the stairs there. Number 5 was the entryway. You couldn't see the front door. It's really good for people coming to visit that they can see the front door. And this recessed porch was substantially blocked by this protrusion in front. See if there's an opportunity to do better with that. Number 6 and 7 were dealing with the fact that we had a north-south orientation, and the back of the house faced north. We can maybe do this kind of configuration and get all this daylight and free heating and cooling and ventilation into the back of the house, just with a step roof configuration to put under consideration. And then number 8 over here is this recessed pocket, which really concerned me because it creates complexity that adds no value. In fact, you lose about 130 square feet and have to build about, in this case, about 17, 18 feet more wall. So you're spending thousands more doing the foundation, the walls, and you're getting 130 less square feet. And these kind of pocketed recessed areas are not very good to sit in, and it's very constrained by space. So that was also an issue. Number 9 was, again, maybe this front protrusion is something we could look at to simplify. 10 had to do with the fact that dining was buffered from the preparation area. It was way too isolated. We could do better with that. 11 was suggesting you can even get rid of this door, the main door to the master bedrooms here, and you can just maybe save a whole door and framing and casing. Number 12 was this bathroom layout was way too complex. We can get more for less square footage. 13 was the door was over here. Originally, I was saying maybe the door could be to the closet here. We get a full straight wall. And 14 was there was no closet in the entry, and again, the door is facing out the front. So you see basically how we benchmark, we get lots of notes, and then we come back and we have a revised design. So now the bedroom has bed moved, and we have much bigger window view space out to the back. Now have a back patio for, again, outdoor hardscaping. We have an improved front porch and improved view. We have a front entry. We have about 120 square feet less, again, times 100, that's 12,000 or so savings. If it's 150 square foot, it's getting closer to 20,000 savings. We've got 4 less corners, and that's another $2,000–3,000 of savings. The floor plan's much more simple. The stairs are located where they don't block the view from any critical spaces. You have better flow. You have a much improved master bath layout with more openness and less complications in the flow to the shower, to the toilet room, and so forth. And we have a front-facing entry, as I mentioned. So much, much better improvements. And then we had more feedback about how to simplify the functionalities. This dining room is removed from the kitchen over here. The great room's here. What if we just flip it and have the great room side and the dining room on this side, like that. Let's see, enhanced usable space in the hall bath. This is a laundry closet. When a house of this stature probably do better with a laundry room. And we thought about maybe a built-in bench here as well at the entry. And an entry closet was missing, and reconfigure the hall bath. So the plumbing would be on the interior walls, not the exterior walls. So all these things came up. And then we have this final revised layout. So we have 2 sinks with the plumbing on the interior wall, the bath, and the toilet on the interior wall. We have a full featured laundry room instead of just a little closet. We added an entry closet and a bench. We have integrated systems in terms of, again, the plumbing is improved, and switching the dining room and the great room. Again, just have better flow to the serving in the dining area. So you can see this door over here just has to slide over one bit over here. So that's kind of how it works. And then they went back, they did tabulated savings. They came up with about $21,000 of cost savings. They came up with almost $23,000 of added value. So net or value in added savings is $44,000, which is about 17.5% of the cost they projected at $250,000 in the low cost market they were building in. So you see right on the middle of the range that we were targeting. And kind of just all this works just by putting on that special lens and saying, how can we extract all the ways and how can we add value to make our homes work better? And I love when I get comments like this back. Our consultation association with you has transformed our business model. They have a whole new branding. They have a whole new way of going to market. They have an actual brand promise that they can deliver in every home they do. So it was very exciting to see them just do exactly what we hoped, which was to develop a whole new way of doing business that would help them do better for lower cost. So that was the first example I'd like to highlight. One of my favorite builders came through the action groups was Tim O'Brien Homes. And it was because I think Tim made a huge commitment to invest in the process and got some amazing outcomes. So, Tim and his team, they basically did the customization of the best practices for their company. And if you look at it, the biggest thing they focused on was a front porch on fifth site. A natural comfort for a production builder like Tim, who's I think the largest production builder in his state, basically was not ready to go there. So no problems. That's not part of your framework. Then a right sizing, everything made sense again with that. Again, controversial built-in furniture. So just leave it out is what we recommended. Simple again, it always comes up as probably the highest priority so far for the attendees that come through the action groups, as well as integrated systems. These two and right sizing, those are the 3 big ones that come up as the highest priority. And so this is what Tim and his team came back with was all these benchmarking notes. It was an amazing, great effort to just really study his plan. So this is the lower level of the main plan that he was going to work on. Here are the existing elevations. And in the basement, the key things that they noted to highlight were to consider getting rid of the extra left gate. There's an extra protrusion here, right over here. Remove the fake shutters and size the porch so it's functional. You have this little tiny porch area here that you can't even really sit in. In addition, the group came up with optimizing the water heater location. All the bedrooms are here, so it would be better to locate it next to the bedrooms, simplify this trunk delivery system for HVAC, and show the basement furniture. That will help you sell upgrades for finished basements. It will help encourage people to understand what a useful space is when it's envisioned in full functionality and with exciting layouts. And so this is the revised design. Oh, this is the first floor design, again, benchmark. And I'll highlight again some of the key things they came up with. Was one, add some outdoor spaces in the back. Right now, it's just a steps down from the dining area. Eliminate our possible corners. You have the pop out here, you have this double corner configuration here. And so remove the dining room bump, make the circulation more effective. Look at how much circulation you have. This whole section here is an amazing amount of circulation that doesn't add value. And floor plan functions well, but needs just to think about how all the flow works better. And in particular, we'll talk about a few more things like the laundry room is too far from the main area, the bedroom area, which should be close to. So it could not be further away from the bedrooms. This is again feedback as a group can added to their self-analysis. We also talked about maybe simplifying the kitchen layout. You know, this little cabinet here has this big corner. Corner cabinets are expensive and more awkward to use. We talked about simplifying the kitchen cabinets and saving money and make it work better. Widening the kitchen island, it's long but too narrow, so it would look a lot better if it was wider. Show the furniture layout in the great room so they know it works, and the same in the master bedroom and the bedrooms. We just have to show all the furniture so we can really get the most effective outcome in optimization. And then opportunity for valuable master bedroom deck and deck here as well, which would again have outdoor, indoor space and linkages. And this is valuable real estate, this whole corner with no windows. And think about the floor plan. How do we actually leverage the opportunity for views with space that will benefit? So rethink that out a little bit. And again, the rear bit, this bedroom is the same as the one we just showed. 2 porthole windows, and it looks like the bed may not be a good view from the bedroom. So what can we do to fix that as well? Master bedroom in a home of this stature probably deserves 2 sinks, we thought. And a long, narrow stairwell in the middle of the house can be kind of deadly. It's like almost a cavern going down into the basement. Bad experience in general. And you have an opportunity to do compartmentalized bathrooms so 2 people can use it at the same time. And also tightening up the space. It's just a lot of space with not much use. Very low value square footage you're paying for that's not giving you much in return. And again, deep entries like this with the deep recess are deadly going into homes. Again, it's like that going to a cavern effect. It's dark. And so what can we do to maybe build on that as well? So this is the revised design. I'm going to put it right up next to the design I just showed you and then show you how much more simple, effective, and how much better the revised design worked. The Tim O'Brien team did an amazing job taking the feedback, applying it, and getting great results. So first, they have the optional deck, and they're going to go with covered porch as standard, I think, on the back of the dining area. Then they reduce the corners from 12 to 8. And the 4 list corners are $73,000, both in concrete footprint and then the footprint for the walls themselves. We have a much more simple configuration, all straight cabinets. There's one wall of cabinets, a much wider island, and then the other cabinets here in the kitchen, and we have this bonus extended pantry kitchen area with a straight cabinet. Just all easy, simple things to do. Then the secret sauce is moving this dungeon stair in the middle to this inviting stair off the great room area to go downstairs and make the flow and the access so much more desirable and make that lower level so much more functional as a useful space. So relocating the stair there and having the low wall so you can see going down there completely transforms the lower level and how well it works. And then they optimize the laundry. They got it from this dead corner over here to part of the bedroom area with access from the master suite and access from the bedroom hallway section over here. They have a much more luxurious mudroom section here with the extra storage here for lots of things that you need storage for, benches and other storage. And it worked out a much better, more luxurious mudroom without much more square footage, if any. And then they have a much They compartmentalize the bath so 2 people can use it. It's more luxurious that way. And then you have a less deep entry because the garage is less recessed, so walking in here is not quite as cavernous. And then they optimize the hot water system, so it's below the bathroom, which I'll show you in a second. And so they did all that, and they also showed all the furniture layout so that all the flow and how the space works, we're confident we're getting the most value from the space that we're building. So amazing job that Tim did with his group. And so downstairs, the water heater went from over here to over here. And I'm not worried about the kitchen sink being far removed from the water heater, because when we turn on the kitchen sink, we're using the first few minutes just to rinse the dishes anyway, when we don't need hot water. And so we're not wasting, and it's not an annoyance not to have hot water right away at the kitchen sink. However, in the bedroom section is where it really makes a difference. So getting the water heater here worked great, and here's a mechanical system that are located also, so that is more efficient. So we optimized the water heater for the bedrooms. We have the revised stair. We have the simplified HVAC layout. We have the furniture layout showing here how the downstairs can lay out beautifully and provide a lot of extra bonus spaces. Maybe a man cave over here, whatever it may be. But you see it works beautifully, and also it shows how if you get the bedrooms over here, you know where your egress windows need to be. And more importantly, if you plan to put in decks and outdoor spaces over here, you won't be able to put in the egress windows. Do it nearly as easily. So they have the house configured to integrate with the requirement for egress windows from bedrooms. And then we, again, optimize the air handler and the bedroom locations. So a lot of just amazing value added to the whole lower level, because now buyers see a whole opportunity to create more and more useful space in their homes. And this is how it now looks without the extra bump out in front. It's a more simple home. They made the front porch come out deeper, so it's an actual useful front porch and less recess. Everything about this house just got so much better. And when they actually put pencil to paper and came up with the numbers, it was about $46,000 of savings and about $72,000 of added value. That's huge. That's just the builder's self-calculations. And that, this is just insanity not to leverage that kind of opportunity. And you just saw how much better the design got. It's simple, it's less headaches to build, everything going in the right direction. And I love feedback we get again, our experience with Housing 2.0, brought new insight to designing our homes for today and tomorrow's buyers. So, this is just what makes us feel good. And we know we embed the builders who go through the program with a persistent set of better for lower cost outcomes. And so the workshops are so important underpinning, but this is why we push the action group so much, so that we can finally get everyone who might go through the workshop to then be ready to go, and then make it a lifetime practice. Now, you can come into the workshop, the action groups, without going through the workshop, but we always love and prefer to go through the workshop first, but it's not a requirement. Okay, next one is younger homes. I love this project because serendipity, Danielle Younger, who owns Younger Homes, brought in her first patio home design, and then as an afterthought, she then showed the group her two-story design. I want to show you what happened with the two-story design in her case, just again to show you how sometimes just one right change that's not obvious maybe to the design team at first can transform the house. And so this was the design that came in. This was the extra design she just threw in for extra credit, where she showed how the patio home is going to be configured for 2 stories. So here's the first story design. There's a lot of great things going on in this plan, but amazing feedback came out of the action group process for this home. So one was, we got all this bump out configuration in the home. Do we really need it? And we'll look more at that. And then we have the stair location over here, which is creating a bump out and also an amazing amount of space that's wasted. There's zero value to all this space, maybe 80, 90 square feet. No value, because it's just to get you, again, in a dark, well, in an undesirable space to the loft space. The other thing that happened was they showed the floor plans, both the patio and this home, with an optional office in this huge closet. And we were thinking as a group that since there's a work at home imperative, why not show the plan with the office and show the larger closet as an option? Because virtually every buyer, like a huge percentage of buyers would want to have the office versus that super extra large closet. And this closet could be configured for lots of extra storage. So that was a point that was made. Also, you got to show the furniture layout. We don't know how to optimize if we don't know how the furniture is going to go. So we have to show the furniture layout. And I always know, anytime I see small juts and jogs and turns, that there's a way to do better, okay? And in this case, it's all you had to do. See, this jog, why do we have this turn here and have to have this extra complexity? This room can take a little bit of a foot or 16 inches off of it and has no effect. It was simplified. The second thing was this: why do we have this bump out in the loft space? We don't need that. Why don't we just do it like this? This bedroom is so oversized for what it needs to be. Just have this as the walk-in closet and this is the bath, and we're done. And you make things more simple. And so again, what we are always doing and encouraging and teaching to is wear these lenses that just, when they're special lenses, and you look, all the waste and complexity just jumps out at you, and you work the problem, you solve it, and you almost always can work the problem. So here's revised, here's the plan here, and here's that bump out for the stair. From the front elevations on the right side, from the right elevations over here. And then there's a lot of complexity over here and in the back over here, just because of the bump out for the dining room and what changes there. There's a lot of room to fix that. So they came back with this revised design. There was so much success looking at this kind of just afterthought showing the two-story plan, and they came back with a revision. So a couple of things, let me walk you through what comments were here. Again, we have the bump out here. Let's get rid of that by just making a smooth wall with a walk-in closet and bathroom. Then the stair is in this much superior location. So I'm going to go back here and show you that. Just move the stair where the laundry is, and move the laundry where the stair is. You just flip these two with, if anything, just better results. So I'm going to go back here. So now the laundry's over here, and then the stairs over here. And again, for all the bedrooms coming down, it's just even easier access to the laundry when you come down. And so the stairs here with just a front dormer, which at least you would see visually from the front at interest. And that just works a lot better. But, okay, and then, then over here, I mentioned I always struggle with this pop out for the dining room, and then this extra pop out here. So a recommendation I had was to, why don't we just move this thing all up and make this one smooth wall in the back, and then add the back porch covered for the architectural interest. So you can get all the same amount of storage and everything, and it's less square feet, it's a better layout, it's easier to build. So that was a recommendation. And then the other thing I forgot to mention was on the stair here, I asked that architect to flip it, because you see you come up the stair here, then you take a jog and get into the loft. And also you come up here, you come up on this side and go upstairs on the wrong side. So when you flip it, now you come up on this side, you wind up coming up here. Now this is extra space for a closet. So I just added like 15 or 20 square feet of useful storage. I'm just getting rid of hallway that's completely unnecessary. And I wind up with a closet off the entry, which is currently missing from the floor plan, by using the space underneath the steps. And so you walk straight up into the loft, it's better flow, everything's better. And again, this is front elevation, this is the stair pop out. And if we got rid of the bump out in the back, this whole section gets a lot more easy to build, a lot lower cost, a lot more simple. And again, I love the feedback. Sam was able to save our company thousands of dollars in construction costs and achieve the best possible designs. Achieve the best possible design possible for our clients. So I just love that people embrace, apply, and then embed all these best practices into the business model. The last design optimization we're going to show you is CVF Homes. This is the original design where they had the solar on the flat roof, and they had this beautiful trellis here, and they had these courtyards off the bedroom, or another courtyard off the main living spaces, and this other bedroom area. I'll show you how this works. And the first recommendation was to move the solar over the trellis. You save all the costs of the detailed trellis work by mounting the solar just on the framing. And then you don't have like 30, 40 roof penetrations on a flat roof, less risk, more attractive, everything works better. So that was an easy recommendation to make. And this is a floor plan. The way the house works is you have this block is kind of the living space along with the master bedroom next to the garage. And you have a little linkage section to the bedroom. So that's the basic floor plan footprint that we're talking about. Courtyards here created by fencing, and then similarly there's a courtyard here for the master bedroom. So the key things that came up were to, they had two, this is the revised design. I know the original design, but there's a water heater here in this section, a water heater here. We said just switch from 2 to 1 water heater with a demand pump. You don't need to have 2. And that would save you probably $2,000 or $3,000 both in water heater and plumbing. So that was the first recommendation. The other was you have all the storage here. Use the Housing 2.0 storage checklist to make sure you have all the storage you need for all the things we need to keep in our home. Because the kitchen is so large, this is a great storage center to really integrate the checklist. And then this HVAC was moved here so it could be accessed from the garage. From the original design, so the need service for this HVAC system, the mechanical contractor doesn't even need to go in the home to do a lot of repairs straight from there. There's also a second split system in the children's bedroom area as well. And then the laundry was over here, was way too far from all the bedroom sections over here. This great room section over here is all seating. There's no place to put TV for viewing. And notice the dining room table is on the long side, so the viewing for the outside view is not as good. Also, there was no plan for TV. I think it was going to go, they didn't know what they're going to do, so they recommended putting TV mounting on this wall over here. They had 3 bathrooms for each of the 3 bedrooms. We recommended going with a Jack and Jill compartmentalized bathroom here, which they wound up doing. Saving the cost of bathroom, which is maybe another $12,000 or $13,000, $14,000. But you needed to compartmentalize so 2 can use it at once, and then the other bathrooms over here for this 3rd bedroom. Then increase the shared zone. These work zones are overly generous. We recommend making the zone where all the children can hang out together just a bit bigger. And now this is the canopy area that's covered by solar, so it's really going to be attractive. And so this is the revised final design, and the laundry area is now located next to the bedrooms. We redesigned the kitchen counter, but they need to make room for a dish rack and food preparation, so we recommend going back and tweaking this, because you can't just have a sink with no counter. And then the HVAC closet is still here at off the garage for service. Because of all the space savings from the revisions, I now have a study office with a separate outside entry, which is fantastic, extra value in the home, particularly for people who work at home. And then we also have the dining area switch table on the long side. We shifted the great room here with a viewing wall over here, so now that worked out much, much better. And then this shared zone got about 30% bigger, with plenty of room to squeeze these work centers for work at home for students. And then we recommended that this would be an ideal design to check working with SIPs. Here's the elevations to show you why. It's a flat roof, but you can just see how ideally suited this would be to these SIP wall panels in the Texas market where this house is going up. Here's the exterior wall panels where the courtyards, the fences block the courtyards that were shown this year. So that was CF design. They actually tabulated 86,000 of savings. So it's been very impressive. We're able to achieve substantial savings in better performing homes by adjusting our designs. So again, everything we're striving to do is get builders to, and their whole teams that work together, always work towards this approach. Last I'm going to show you is how the same action group was applied to sales optimization. We had great success with equity home builders. So I worked one-on-one with them as well, just the marketing team. And they really needed to think about branding as they're going to apply all these amazing design optimization best practices. So mainly what I focused was just one of the strategies for optimized sales experience, which is right message. And these are the best practices, communicating the why, leading with it, power words, contrast for clarity, earning trust with independent certifications, association with leading brands like our great sponsors, testimonials. So they ranked all those 5. Marketing uh, leader, and as he went back to his group, they said all these things are important, and they were focused on that for the message. And so all of them were high priority. So the next task was to come up with what messages they thought right now were using the most and were the most effective. And so this was a list of messaging I got. I reorganized it, and I put this one at the top: the hardworking Southern home saves money, builds equity, and safeguards your family. And the reason I put it up at the top was I kept finding all these references to hardworking homes or homes that worked hard. And clearly there was something going on with this company where hardworking was really representing something that was intrinsic to their core business value. And that seemed to be compelling reason for a why. And the only thing is, I believe why statement should be 7 words or less. So I put hardworking homes that safeguard your family. And the amazing thing that happens with messaging is once you can get your core why message locked in, it provides a foundation for all the other architecture messaging, all the messaging architecture that you're building on top of it. Without that solid foundation, messaging just doesn't work. So once you do the soul searching exercise to figure out and come up with the most effective way to convey what your company is about, like Equity did here, with hardworking homes that safeguard your family, everything just flowed from there. So it's, again, the recommendations was just have all the sub messaging all build on that. Hardworking for your lifestyle, with homes designed, engineered, and built for how you live. Hardworking for your budget by avoiding tens of thousands of dollars of utility bills of a 30-year mortgage. Hardworking for your future by ensuring you get the most from the largest purchase of a lifetime. Hardworking for your well-being, with homes certified to include 100% of the health protection recommended by national experts. Hardworking for convenience with advanced technology smart home features. Hardworking for authenticity with homes that celebrate timeless Southern traditions and values. Hardworking to live better with performance certified to the top 1% of homes built nationwide. Again, this is a zero-ready home target performance. Hardworking with quality products carefully selected for design, performance, and durability. Hardworking exceeding your expectations with 5-star home buyer reviews. So all I was doing was taking all their messaging and now building it into a strong, wide core value message and having a total message architecture. So you always emphasizing the core of your company. And then we work with them to teach how to do this with power words, how to do it with contrast, how to do it with independent certifications, association with leading brands, testimonials. Then the work is easy. Then we're just applying proven solutions that will know change behavior all around a brand promise that defines this particular company. So, just the way the action group concept works for design, it works equally well for sales. It was amazing what came out of just forcing the thinking to have that discipline to first get a great why, then building messaging around it. I love, this is Jane Barnett's husband, Dave Barnett, who has a separate market consulting group working with her. Have been bragging to Jane about how much it already helped. And I wasn't sure in the beginning he was sold on doing this, but in the end it was a great result. So again, this is all amazing to me to take this hypothesis, put it to the test, actually work with builders in this amazingly collegial, collaborative, and tremendously enjoyable working groups. my big message to those of you that are builders that are here today watching this webinar, we'd love to fill out some more of our action groups. There are limited spots. We only can do at most 6 builders per working group. So if you want to lock in for this year's action groups, I really hope you do contact Mike and let him know that this is something you want to do. It's just very exciting to see the results that we get, empirical results, and the amazing numbers that the builders themselves are tabulating in terms of cost savings and value. So I hope this made sense. Mike, I'll hand it off to you, see if you have any questions.
All right, thanks, Sam. Appreciate it much. And gonna get back on here with you. We do have a couple questions that have been sent in, but if you have any others, please send them into the questions box. We're going to start off with Joseph. He wanted to know, and it's kind of a funny question, but we've run into this once or twice in the action group, Sam. Why don't architects and builders leave enough room to install traditional HVAC and recovery systems?
Well, why do they put them in attics in the western part of the country? The most egregious place to locate. And then they often they only have the 22.5 inches by 16-inch attic hatch. So when it's time to replace the HVAC system, there's nowhere to get a new system up in the attic. Why do they put them in closets where they're hard to work on? It's the questions we want to ask during the design process when it's the time to think about these things. How do we integrate all the systems in the home so they perform better, they service better, and it costs less? So it's a great question that I keep asking myself as well. So we're kindred spirits on that one.
And I'm glad too, Sam, that you pointed out on the CVF Homes plan, the water heater, because I remember that discussion as well about the place of the water heater and trying to optimize that for usage and stuff. So it applies not just to the HVAC and recovery, water heater systems and other systems too.
Yeah.
Also had a question from Sabine, wanted to know what we're talking about here with the Housing 2.0 principles. Is this also possible to implement on additions to existing older homes?
What a great question. Very much so. I think there's hardly any difference, but the big challenge you have to do on existing homes is you're constrained by the existing infrastructure. So the structural systems, the mechanical systems, the electric systems. So the optimizations, all how to get the most from the existing infrastructure that's forming the house. And the whole part of doing home additions is to identify the high value spaces, preserve those, identify the low value spaces that can be upgraded or re-engineered to work better. Often one of the trickiest things, like a lot of times adding a second floor, is to find the best place for the stairs. It's always going to be the secret sauce for additions where you're adding second floors. But it's the same concepts apply. You want the flow to work. You want to think about community connection. You want to think about views. You want to think about how you can leverage right sizing techniques and combine rooms. A lot of the same best practices will work equally well. Obviously, you'll be constrained applying natural comfort if that natural house is set so it doesn't allow for that. But again, the way you customize for a business the design best practices that meet your preferences, each existing home will have to have almost a customized approach as well.
And I know the question was about additions. Can you touch a little bit on remodels too?
Well, additions is when we add space, and remodels is when we take the existing space and try to make it work better. And so same thing, often a lot of people are redoing kitchens, they're in the existing space, they're maybe tearing down a wall and combining rooms. All those things apply. It's the same concepts going for the same desired outcome. Can we get more functionality of the same square footage? Can it live better? Can we integrate systems so that we have less bump outs or have more storage or whatever it needs to happen? So remodels, additions, it's pretty much the same answer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions, Sam. So thank you very much for sharing your time and your knowledge with us today and walking us through some of these case studies. As someone who has been a participant in all of those action groups, I obviously know what the punchline was here, but I think for our audience to see how some of this truly translates into real world dollars, I think is quite eye-opening. So thanks for walking us through that, Sam.
All right, thank you, Mike. And I hope those of you that are thinking about joining the action group get hold of Mike as soon as you can.
Yeah, I want to thank our audience for attending and asking those questions. And thank you to Mitsubishi Electric, Westlake Royal Building Products, and Schneider Electric for their generous sponsorship of the Housing 2.0 program. We're going to be right back here in 2 weeks for another webinar in our Thought Leaders series. That'll be Wednesday, April 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have Dennis Webb of Fulton Homes here to discuss the future of home sales, so don't miss that. And finally, if you did enjoy today's webinar and you'd like to learn more about the Housing 2.0 strategies, you can register now for the Q2 workshop series. That 6-part series will begin on Thursday, May 12th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Just go to greenbuildermedia.com/housing-2.0 to find out how to register for that. Until next time, stay safe on those job sites, stay healthy, and take care. So long.